So happy Halloween, you guys. This is Phil Town here from Roll One, and I thought I would do a kind of a Halloween thing. Sorry, I'm recording at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun is pouring through the blinds. I can't seem to shut it off, which is, just part of the deal for Halloween, right? So what we're going to talk about, I always get questions about this, and I think this is the right time to talk about it. And it's appropriately ghoulish, I suppose. Ghoulish, is it? Or ghoulish? Where we can talk about a ghoulish sort of thing in finance, which is what we call a zombie company. Zombie company. I know a lot of you have asked me about this because we used to talk about it quite a lot in our valuations, and then we stopped doing the zombie valuation. I'm not even really sure why. It's just it doesn't come up much except with finance companies as a valuable way to find a wonderful business that's doing well. We normally wouldn't use a zombie company analysis, but the reason we call it, but I'll show you how we do use it. The reason we call it a zombie valuation is because it is looking at the company as if it's the Walking Dead. It's still a public company. It's still alive, but we're going to value it as if the moment we buy it, it's dead. It drops dead. What would you pay for something like that? What would you pay for something that's the Walking Dead and a moment later it's just dead, right? So this is a valuation that's used when companies are going into bankruptcy. They use it in bankruptcy court a lot. And it is what is used by your accountants when they're going to take a look at your net worth. What they're talking about there and your net worth is just your net worth if you're dead, not if you're alive. If you're alive, then your net worth is going to, potentially have a lot more value with you alive than with you gone. Because you're able to go out and you earn money, right? So you have a value and you have a value as a father and a value as a mother or some value as a student. You got potential for the future, and that potential for the future should have a real value. So for example, if you were going to medical school, there are people who will lend you money because you have value in the future as a future doctor. And they're going to bet that you're going to make it through and you're going to have a lucrative practice and you're going to be able to pay off these debts. So they want to get into your wallet as soon as they can because you're going to be a good customer forever. And so they're looking at you as a valuable entity, as a living entity. And that's the way most companies that we're going to buy are. They're living entities, and we're going to value them based on the cash flow that living entity is going to produce. And we don't look that hard at their zombie value because their living value is so much greater than their dead value. And so we really don't use it that much, except when we're looking at financial companies. And then we really will look at what is their real value, and their real value isn't so much in what they produce over time as to what they've got now in terms of zombie value. So here's what zombie value is. It's real simple. We take the assets of the company, and we're going to look at the balance sheet. Remember now, there's three financial statements that we need to look at to some degree. And one of them is called the balance sheet. And that balance sheet is basically the assets of the company, and then what the company owes, which are called liabilities. And then when you subtract the liabilities from the assets, you get the all-important number, which is the equity value, also known in Wall Street jargon as book value, also known when you do it for yourself as your net worth. Those are all the same thing. So when we figure out zombie value, what we're really figuring out is what is your net worth if you take out the things in your assets that may not really pay off if we have to liquidate them. So we're going to get rid of sort of what they call intangibles or goodwill. These are things on your personal balance sheet that you actually probably can't put on your personal balance sheet. Your accountant won't let you. But they do end up on public company balance sheets when public companies buy other public companies or other private companies. They often pay more than the equity of the company, more than the assets minus the liabilities, the equity or book value or net worth. They often buy them for more than the net worth of the company. And where does that go on your balance sheet? Once you pay over $1 million, you paid $1 million for something, and the accountants have to show that $1 million that you paid out got offset by assets worth $1 million. And if they bring over just the net worth of that company, it might only be $500,000. So where do they put the other $500,000? Where does it go? Well, it goes in assets as a goodwill credit, or it goes in as intangible credit. And those are difficult to say you'd be able to sell them for something if you in fact have a company that dropped dead the minute you bought it, right? Remember, that's what we're going to look at. This is a zombie company. It's walking along, and as soon as we buy it, boom, it's dead. And now we liquidate it. And so we liquidate the assets. We sell them all off. And now the accountants, if they've done a good job, and if we've done a good job of looking at the accounting, then we should be able to get pretty much every penny that's in the assets, with the exception of the intangibles and the goodwill. Those are hard to value. And since this is now a dead company, all of those brands or whatever that they've got on their goodwill, all those might be worthless. The company's gone. So we are not going to count those in the assets of the company when we calculate the zombie value. We're going to eliminate goodwill and intangibles. So we're going to take the asset total that's right there on the balance sheet, and we're going to look up those two lines on the balance sheet that say goodwill and intangibles. And we're going to take that amount of money that's in those two lines, and we're going to subtract it from the assets. So if we had $1 million of assets and intangibles were $100,000 and goodwill was $100,000, we're going to subtract each of those from the $1 million of assets. We're going to remove $200,000, and we'll have what's called tangible assets. So we got rid of the intangibles. So what we got left is tangible assets. That's the stuff we can really sell. Okay. So those are the tangible assets. And now we're going to subtract the liabilities, because there are no intangible liabilities. They're just not intangibles. They're real, and they're going to get paid off. So we're going to have to subtract those. There's nothing zombie about those. And then what we have left when we subtract the liabilities from the tangible assets is we have tangible equity or tangible book value. And we've decided to call that the zombie value. So the tangible net worth, the tangible equity, the tangible book value, those are all the same thing. We're going to call that the zombie value. That's it. When the thing's dead, we got that much money. We should have that much left. And if we can buy a company for a lot less than that, we might do it. And that's what Ben Graham used to do back in the Depression. He'd buy all these zombie companies. He called them, they didn't talk about zombies in 1935 like they do now. He called them cigar butts. They talked more about cigar butts in 1935, right? Some guy smoked a cigar down, and you could see the guys that were out of work and they didn't have any money. They wanted to smoke. They would pick up the wealthier guy's cigar, and they didn't mind. They'd just brush it off and smoke what's left. In other words, it's free, just sitting there, and it's still got value. Still got some puffs in it. And Ben Graham would buy those kind of cigar butt companies. And he would buy them for less than zombie value by a lot. Oftentimes he'd buy them literally for the cash in the company, the cash minus the liabilities. In other words, he could buy that company. Let's say the company had $1 million of cash and $500,000 of liabilities. In other words, had $500,000 that you could liquidate the company and walk away with $500,000. He could often buy those companies for less than the $500,000. So that idea of zombie value has got a long history back in Rule 1. We don't see a lot of those now, thank God. But someday if we keep being fiscally irresponsible, we will have another opportunity, or our kids will, to be buying zombie companies for a lot less than their tangible cash. So that's it. That's my Halloween lesson for you guys. Now go out there, have a really ghoulish or ghoulish, whatever it is, fabulous evening. And if you don't believe in Halloween and think it's a horrible pagan ritual, then you just stay home and watch TV. Until then, I'll see you guys. Time to go play. Bye. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video and you feel it was valuable for teaching you more about zombie value, just hit the like button and please share the video with your friends. And if you want more investing content, subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to click the button on the screen for a free gift. Thanks again for watching.